Green Room is a film that kind of centres around a punk rock band who end up witnessing a murder and then have to kind of escape from the premises after kind of being locked in there.
Yeah, they're neo-Nazis, aren't they?
Yeah, they're neo-Nazis. They're neo-Nazi skinheads.
Not the band, the people.
The people that are there, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're not particularly pleasant people. So this is directed by Jeremy Saulnier, who, of course, directed Blue Ruin, which is a kind of... it was a sort of an indie thriller... Revenge film, quite critically acclaimed, a sort of quite a lo-fi kind of film. I think it's one of those films that kind of got quite popular via Netflix.
It was one of those films where it's like on the top underrated films of the year list.
To the point where it wasn't underrated.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So he's back, and this film is very much made in the blueprint of or from the blueprints of Blue Ruin. Really, it's a very similar style, sort of, again, lo-fi thriller, but just has a very different kind of subject at its centre. But it still feels quite similar, which I'll get onto later. So, yeah, I mentioned how you've got these sort of skinhead figures and you've got this punk band. Those two groups of people do feel like quite sort of sketchily, stereotypically drawn.
I've heard that
characters.
Particularly the for lack of a better word, heroes are kind of like really stupid and make lots of really stupid decisions to the point where it's kind of hard to sympathise with them.
Yeah,
because they just sort of seem to be it's their fault.
Yeah,
they're so heavily involved.
Yeah, exactly. And there is some of that, definitely. But yeah, I mean, it's a well-written film because it's one of those kind of films that sort of set within a small space. I always think of these things as sort of Hitchcockian. But one aspect of it that certainly isn't Hitchcockian is the violent content. And it's quite graphic, quite gory, which I know you'll like the sound of. But actually, I went to see a preview screening of it this morning, and I think a lot of people there maybe weren't prepared for that. And I don't think I've ever actually been at the cinema and seen so many people walk out.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, maybe about 10 people.
In the middle of the film?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because there are some very...
That is Picture House, though, so I don't
Yeah.
know the age of these...
very middle-class, older peoples.
I did not expect it to be violent.
No, but it kind of comes up very suddenly, and it's very strong gore. I'd say some of the strongest gore I have seen. Now, I know I don't watch horror films, but interestingly enough, it is classified, at least on IMDb, as a horror film, and maybe the gore is the only thing that makes it horror. That's the only kind of moment where maybe you gasp in horror, in shock. So yeah, the first half of the film, I don't know if people that have seen Blue Ruin will sort of know this as well, because that's a film that starts off very slow, doesn't it? It starts off very, very slow.
Very slow.
And sort of builds into something that is
more entertaining,
shall we say.
It gets less boring.
Yeah. And this film starts with a kind of, a punk rock band on the road, and it's all quite conventional till they arrive sort of at the gig venue. But as you know that is going to be coming, it makes you sort of like have so little interest in this first, maybe it's about half an hour of the film.
You feel like impatient.
Very impatient. Just get on with it. Because it is quite a short film. It's only an hour and a half. So that does take up a big chunk of it. And it is all completely superfluous.
I do always find it really weird when you have like an hour and a half long film that's so slowly paced. It's like, why are you so slow and an hour and a half?
So really that first half an hour of the film is very meh. Very meh indeed. But yeah, that second half, there are times when it does really, really have you on the edge of your seat. It is very intense at its best. But how much you actually care about the characters at the heart of it, I don't know. I mean, I know I said that the other week because some of their decision making is slightly suspect, though. Patrick Stewart is good. He seems a bit out of place for most of the film, but I feel like once you're aware of a key plot development, it makes a bit more sense why he is in the film and why he turns up, etc. Because yes, he's very unlike the other characters in the film, but there is kind of a reason for that.
Okay.
but I still feel like he didn't fit very well into the film in the sense that his acting style didn't go with that, because it's quite a flat style in those films. And I don't mean to say
if it's like Blue Ruin, like everyone is understated,
Yeah.
like a ridiculous,
Yeah,
degree,
and it's
where
exactly
like
like
no
that.
one's even emoting at all.
Yeah.
So if it's like that, I see what you mean.
Yeah, maybe there's a little bit more emotion
Yeah.
because you've got sort of more named actors. Like you've got Anton Yelchin, Imogen Poots, who is actually brilliant. I've got to say, Imogen Poots is great.
You really like her. Though.
I really
remember
like
'cause,
her.
you saw Filth, and she's in Filth like very briefly, but you went on about her for quite a bit.
She is good, and not just because I fancy her, but because in this role she is very different from anything you would have seen her in before, and it's not just because she has her hair shaved. She's a badass female figure. So there you go. Enjoy her. Enjoy her. I don't enjoy her performance. So yeah, basically, I am going to go for this film with a 7 out of 10, and this is just going to be my sort of final thought on the film.
Okay.
Is to say that for me, it's a very 7 out of 10 film, in the same way that Blue Ruin is also a very 7 out of 10 film. But we do have to say that Ben, who can't be here today, has given it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, he said something about being like
Yeah,
really
tense throughout, basically, yeah.
throughout,
And it is, but I just feel like half an hour of the film is just so meh
Yeah.
that it. But yes,